In this section, we will discuss how to insert the shapes for the implants from the implant library. However, first we must review how to mark the mandibular canal. There is a separate video tutorial on how to mark the mandibular canal. However, we will just review the basic features. First, it's a good idea to change from the bony template to a more transparent look. Here on the right side, if you click on the other template from standard, so this is the one that's selected, CT bone. So if you click the other icon and scroll down to the CT transparent 2, or any one that suits your fancy, then you have a more transparent look for marking the canal and actually seeing the canals and the implants a little bit clearer. Now, for demonstration purposes, I've already marked the right mandibular canal, and so you can see it very nicely in how it shows up here with the 3D image. And now we'll go ahead and we'll mark the left mandibular canal. So, in review, what we could do is find a coronal screen. Here's a coronal screen, and the left mandibular canal is here. We can actually right-click and move this over a little bit if we come away from the numbers. So, the method, if you hold the Alt key down, you press it right next to the keyboard, or right next to the spacebar, I should say. There's the caliper, so you're going to left-click it right into the mandibular canal. Release the Alt key, go up to the blue line on the axial screen, grab the anchor point, just left-click it, drag it slowly, and as you're doing it, you're looking onto the right lower screen. This is the sagittal screen, and you want to get the most elongated look you can for a nice tubular look of the mandibular canal here on the left side. Okay, so now to mark the left side of the mandibular canal, we go to this icon up here in the right upper panel, IMP, which stands for implants. Click it, go down to planning, which already is selected. Click M canal and come across to the right where it says new. This is the previous one that's already been marked. So anyway, when you click new, you get a new canal to drop in. Now we can change the color. If you want to color code it, simply press the color icon, changes to a different color. Here we'll take royal neon purple, whatever that color is. Click OK. Then we're going to mark the canal here from posterior as we go working our way up toward the metal foramen. So then we're going to bring now the control key in from the keyboard. We're going to hold it down. You get a little light bulb circle there with the arrow. Start just a little bit outside the posterior edge, and green circles, just drop those in to the mandibular canal as we work our way up. Now if we make a mistake accidentally, we can just simply go up, grab the point, and drag it back down into the canal itself. If we go outside, there's another way of doing this. Instead of the control key, we'll bring in the shift key. Hold the shift key down, and the shift key, we can delete points as we go along. Okay, you can delete all the points, or if you want to delete the whole mandibular line, you just go across to the right here. Make sure the line you selected is highlighted. Just click delete. It's going to ask you for OK, and then you can continue on your merry way. Alright, back to marking the canal. Hold the control key down, take your little arrow with the little sunshine icon, and you're going to click along the length. Okay, and if you're clicking and you don't see the little sunshine icon, chances are we had to go back and click new and create that second line again when we deleted it. So now we're just going to hold the left click of the mouse and hold the control key down, left click our green circles along the length of the left mandibular canal. Now if you wish the canal to be marked so that you have a little bit of a loop coming out of the middle foramen, when you do that, go back to the sagittal screen, grab the vertical green line, just drag it forward, and as you do, you're looking here in the coronal screen. And here you can see the circle. We can move this down a little bit, that's the green circle, and then we're going to hold our control key, and we are going to drop another little green circle, and then you have a little bit of a hook that comes out of the left metal foramen. Now you're always free to hit the reset icon with a little curved red arrow here. This will reset back to the default positions. And notice the lines, the mandibular markings stay intact. They do not disappear unless you hit, let's say, 3D off or hide all and then show all again. That's how you can make the markers come and go if you wish. But nevertheless, the markers will still be in place unless you, of course, delete them individually. Now let's say for demonstration purposes you want to put some implants here on the left side of the mandible. So this is a good view that we can get an overall global view in the 3D, and then we can have our multiple slices here with the CT images. Now I'm going to recommend hitting reset and go to the section that you want to drop the implants in. So again, we're going to bring in the Alt key. Here it is on the left. I'm going to simply click in the left mandibular canal. And remember, go back up to the anchor point on the actual screen on the blue line, and you're going to rotate this line parallel to the level so that you can see a graduated, more elongated look here in the sagittal projection. And of course, you're more 90 degrees in the coronal view as well. So it's a very nice area to, or a nice procedure function to get into where you want to measure. So let's say, for demonstration purposes, let's say we want to put a little implant right in this section here. First thing, let's go and do some measurements. So here, by doing this, remember, the area in between the crossbars represents in all three views. So the area in between the green and the blue crossbars and axial, here in the purple and red lines here in the coronal, and here in the green and red line in sagittal. All of these 3 points correspond. Now, first let's do a quick measurement. Measurement toolbar is up here. If you click it, open. Third one over is going to be distance. So if we click distance, we make sure we highlight that as a background. Let's go down here in the sagittal plane first, and let's click from the top of the ridge and down right to the mandibular canal, the top part of the canal itself. We can always subtract in our minds less 2 to 3 millimeters away when we're dropping our implant. So we got a measurement here. We can also measure here. By the way, these lines, the crossbars, you can temporarily take those off by coming up here to the enable disable cross cursors, just little 4 black squares, just like a toggle. It puts these on and off, okay, just like that. So let's take them off for a second, just for measurement purposes. So we've got one measurement here in sagittal. Let's measure the outer to outer edges here. Actually, you know what? Let's first go to the top of the ridge and take a secondary measurement from the ridge linearly down to the top of the mandibular canal. Okay, so we have a measurement there, approximately 13.2. We can even reduce this a little bit if we wish. We get a new measurement there. Okay, so we're coming up about 12.6 maximum here. Over here we can take the measurement from cross section toward the top, from outer edge to outer edge, cortical outer edge to outer edge, and then as we go a little bit lower toward the apical region, of course this is the dentulous area, and then we get a secondary measurement here. So we get all these measurements we can look at, as well as here. Now remember, put the crossbars back on so we have a good accurate assessment of where we're putting our measurements. And so we have a nice cross-reference of measurements. So here we know that we can say, okay, maybe the occlusal diameter is going to be a little bit more than the apical diameter, so maybe we'll put a tapered implant in here, let's just say. All right. So here, if you've got 11, so you subtract 2 from each side approximately. Okay, so you've got 9, you got 7. Maybe you go to 5, about a 4 millimeter occlusal diameter. And then here for the apical region, you're going to subtract 2. So you've got 8.76, you've got 6.76. Okay, so you put maybe 3.5, let's say. And then of course you got your length, so you could put maybe 12.3, subtract 2 to 3, maybe a 10 or a 9 millimeter millimeter length. So you have the measurements beforehand, which is a nice feature. Of course, you can always save this too. You can capture this and save it to your output panel. Or you can hit this button here. It's the Save Scene button with the curved arrow, and it'll save this as well. So you can save any scene and recall it, which is a nice feature. Now let's actually go to the implant library for the implants that we wish. First of all, after we save the scene here, or if we captured this to the output panel, or even if you just noted the measurements on a pad or just in your head, whatever you wish, it's all up to you to record the particular measurements that you're looking. So when you go in the implant library, you have those to access. Now, we'll just keep it at this location just like this. We won't hit reset. What we'll do though is, since we've got the implant icon already open, we're just going to click from M canal. We're going to go to implant. Okay, so we click implant, and we're going to go to new, and now it pops up our little implant library. Now remember, you can have your own library here. We have discussed this in another tutorial video where you have the implant editor icon from your desktop, and there's the tutorial video called implant editor library. So you can review that and how to create shapes. So we won't get into that at this point. We just assume we've already created the shapes we wish. And this is just a token library that we use and sometimes give out as complimentary. But it's not a full complete library, but it has different various sizes in it for, especially for what we're using here. It's for good demonstration purposes. Okay, so here I've selected one. This is called Neos. And we're going to select this particular one, and then you can see the parameters. The total length is 9, occlusal diameter is 4, and the apical diameter is 3.5, so it tapers just a little bit. So once we've got this selected, we come across here and we click OK. So once we do OK, we can see our little implant is now positioned, and we can just left click it and drag it over to the location, and then to oblique it, we're just going to grab either the star, the yellow star, or the circle, and then we can swivel it over in a position that looks a little bit more accurate and move it to any place we wish. Now we see it here in the 3D as well, so you have a nice 3D model. Okay, so you can look at it from 3D as well. And also, if you remember, there's multiple slices, so if we're moving this around a little bit and it seems to go off the screen on the other views, simply you can simply take your Alt key and press down, and you can get your caliper and click right where you see the largest view of the implant. Left click it, and you're going to see it puts it back into the position for the coronal as well. So remember, these are different multiple thin slices too. So if you pick a screen, you can simply slice it, and so you get more of a bigger view. So sometimes if it looks cut off or foreshortened, it's probably because of the slice that you've got selected. The other method of doing this is you can, let's take this off for a second to show you. You have something called iLink over here. So once you've got your particular implant set, you can simply click iLink, and it links them all back up. Now, I kind of prefer the Alt key, because the Alt key, you just simply go up and you can take the anchor point and you can swivel along in that direction. I kind of prefer that, but some people like the iLink, whatever you wish. So it puts it back in the same position that you had previously. Okay, so that's a nice feature as well. And once again, the purpose for the other views is you can simply left click and reposition it from any of the views, axial, coronal, and sagittal. That's the beautiful part about having 3 views like this plus the 3D. So you have a nice methodology of assessing your implant sizes and where they're going to be placed. Okay, so this was basically I went really conservative here because just for demonstration purposes, for placing the shapes of the implant. Now let's say we want a second implant. All we do is we're going to go back and we'll hit reset, and we'll go back, we'll bring in the Alt key, Again, we'll click in the location or close to it. We can click here and then go grab the anchor point up into the actual screen, move it over, and this gives us an opportunity to see our next section where we wish to grab and go. So let's take the crossbars off for a moment, and let's go to a new implant. So we'll click New, and we'll pick one from the library. Okay, so here's one we'll select. Neos Biomodal for the total length is 11, occlusal diameter is 4, apical diameter is 3. So it's a tapered as well, tapered implant as well. So we click it, click OK, and there we have it. So now we're going to, I purposely made this bigger for a demonstration. So now we're going to put it in position, and we're going to take our little yellow star and swivel it in position. And now again, since we don't see it in the other views, remember, let's hold the Alt key. First you're going to put the crossbars on, and hold the Alt key again, and click right on the new implant. And so we've got it lined up in 3 views. And then we can make our further adjustments and align it. But here you see it's going to be kind of long, isn't it? By the way, you can hit the Alt key on this one, and you can slice even to get it in position, so you're not limited in that regard. So you know what? This looks a little bit long. Much prefer to go back to maybe one that's a 9 length. So let's show you how to edit this. First of all, I'm going to highlight the particular implant of concern. This one right here, the second one. It's color coded too, which is pretty nice. Now we can either delete it or replace it. So if you delete it, it goes away. Let's just show you how to replace works. So hit replace, and then I'm going to go to the library. Alright, and now we've selected an implant that's, instead of 11 total length, it's 9, and the occlusal diameter is 4, the apical diameter is 3.5. So we're going to select that, click OK. Now you know it's the same color, so guess what? Let's change the color. So click on the color itself, and you can select another color, whatever color you wish. Click OK, and that way, if you want, the color codes are a little bit different, if you wish. Or you can keep them the same. It's all totally up to you. Now, once we have this in position, again, we can bring in the Alt key, click on it, okay, examine the positions. Remember, we can always grab this if this one looks maybe a little bit too far on the lingual aspect, so we just can grab it in here and reposition it. And remember, we can also do the eye link, okay, so hold the eye link and it'll link it in position for you as well, okay. And you're still free to make adjustments as you go. Okay, so you have that ability to hit the eye link, and so it's linked in to that regard as well. Okay. Now you can go back and forth between these implants as well. So we notice the yellow star and the circle is located in the fuchsia-colored implant. Let's go back to the blue one. So we just click on the blue one, and so now you are able to edit over here on the blue implant. Now you can change the invert the reversal 180 degrees. Let's say you want to implant and you want to just flip it around. Let's say you're doing the maxilla. So if you look here, this is a vertical flip. See, so now you've got the star below and you got the tapered part going up top, and that's, of course, that's if you going into the maxilla. So that's what this vertical flip does. Okay, that function. Also down here, you could change the axis. This is for like the 3D, and also for obviously the linear line. If you want that off, you can simply remove those. Okay. Now remember, it's down here. It's implant specific. Now you can also extend this too. See, or reduce it. See this number here. You can fill in a separate number instead of 20. You can make it 15, and it'll reduce the length of the linear axis line. It goes right through the implant. So that's what this does here. Remember a few more icons. I think we mentioned this already, but you have 3D off. You can take the 3D off. You can hide everything that you've done with the implants. or you can hit show all. Okay, that's just with the implants. Now if you wanted to hide all with mandibular canal, remember you have to go back and do it from the mandibular canal. It's separate. Now remember, you definitely want to save your work. Therefore, after you've dropped your implants, you could go up to this icon, the Save Scene icon. It's right next to the CPR icon. Okay, so if you click it, you're going to have a Save Scene box. All you need to change is this number right in the middle. So you can backspace or delete, whatever your fancy is. I'm just going to call it here left implants. Now watch this. If I hit the space bar, see this OK? If I hit the space bar, it grays out. So to separate words, you can either use a hyphen or an underscore. Okay, so there I've used a hyphen, and I'll just call it left implants. Okay, call it whatever you wish, and then click OK. And what this does, it sends it back to the patient's list. So when you're back into the patient's list again, you will see where that is located. So actually, to demonstrate how to recall the scene, what you do is after you save it, you go to the patient list page, and I'll search for it over here. And after you load a specific patient or from the list, then you simply can highlight the name of the scene that you saved and click load, and it will load up. And once it's loaded up, you're back to where you saved the scene originally, and you can rotate and you can continue on if you wanted to go to the other side or just whatever you wish to do. It's like you're starting a brand new study, but you're just recalling it from the portion where you save. So you definitely want to save your work. Well, that about wraps it up here for the planning for implant shapes. Remember, these are shapes. They are not the real type like STL files that you get. So they're shapes from the implant library. So remember, they're very nice to fill in edentulous areas rather than just using a straight volume. So now, please consult your manual. If you need one in PDF format, just let us know. We'll be glad to get you one. And the program is pretty simple to use. Just play around with it a little bit. If you have any questions, you can always call us. And you call me specifically. Be glad to help you out. Tony Labiano, clinical applications trainer. Be glad to help you out, and just practice some and have fun with it, and hope that it really helps you for your planning when you're looking at patients who need implants. So, thanks very much.